You're listening to the Icandemy Podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Do you ever think to yourself, I want to be able to impact lives, leave an imprint in this world, but you feel isolated, stuck, unclear on how to show up or get started? If you've answered yes to this question, I want to extend a very special invitation to you to join us on our upcoming workshop, the Courageous Confidence Workshop. This workshop is live, where we get to work together on that call so that you can crack the confidence code, awaken your inner giant, show up authentically, and attract your tribe. Head on over to offers.icandemy.org/courageous. Again, it's offers.icandemy.org/courageous. You'll find the links in the show notes below. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Icandemy Podcast. I am super excited to be here. How are you doing? How is everything going? Thank you so much for always coming back, always tuning in, always listening. You could have been listening to any other thing, right? There are a million and one things you could be doing right now, but you chose to be here. So thank you so much for coming back. And on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart. Like most times, if you see me in conversations and you see me passionate and boisterous in that conversation, you know that this is something, this could be one of the things that I will be talking about. And it is the power of having a powerful mindset, a successful mindset. This is what I want to talk about. I want us to understand the concept of mindset and why it is so important in what we achieve in our lives and the results that we get out of anything that we do in life. Okay? So before we even go into mindset and all of the, interesting things about mindset, I want to go as basic, and forgive me here. This is not to say I think most people don't understand the concept of mindset, but forgive me and indulge me as I go along this journey with you. I want us to look at it from the basic, like the very basic, kindergarten basic view first, okay? So before we even think about the concept of mindset, I want us to look at the concept of our brain, okay? Our brain. And I want us to identify the difference between our brain and our mind, okay? So if we go very basic, we know that our brain is an organ, like, an organ, a part of our physical body. Our brain is a physical space where the mind resides. So in other words, our brain is an organ, but your mind isn't. Your mind is not an organ. Our brain is a physical place where the mind resides, right? Our mind is a manifestation of our thoughts, how we think, our perception, how we perceive things, our emotions. Remember the last episode, we talked about emotions, right? Our determinations, what we are determined to do, our memory, our imaginations, when we have visions and we imagine the future or things to come that's happening. All of these things happen in the mind, okay? And the mind resides in the brain. And the mind is often used to refer to the thought processes of the soul. Just the way the brain thinks for the body, the mind thinks for the soul. Okay? Remember in the episode that I did a few weeks back, if you missed it, go back and search for the faculty of the soul. I kind of explain the different faculties within the soul. And I touch on the mind a lot in that episode. So you want to go back and listen to that episode, right? But in this one, I want us to just kind of understand the mindset, not the mind. We're talking about mindset in this episode. But in order for us to get there, I'm just going like the most basic understanding, just so that we can see what the differences are between the brain and our mind. And like I said, the human brain controls nearly every aspect of the human body, like ranging from our physiological functions to cognitive abilities. It functions by receiving and sending signals via neurons to every part of our body. Okay. So if you eat and you are full, your stomach feels full. But what is actually happening in your body is your brain is signaling your stomach to say you've had enough, right? Your brain is the one doing that. Or if you bump your feet on something, ouch, it hurts. It is actually your brain telling you that your feet hurts. Crazy how we've been created. We are indeed fearfully and wonderfully made. Wow. So if you have a brain, you're a machine. Like you are wonderful already. You are wonderful already. So do not think less of yourself. But I digress. Let's get back into it. I'm getting excited, right? Okay, family, let's face it. We've all felt pain. We've suffered the losses. You know what it's like to want something so bad, but not see a path to its accomplishment. The question, however, is, do you know how to pick yourself up and move on despite what has happened? This is what I share with you inside of my new book, Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, a practical guide to helping you find purpose when adversity strikes. Inside this book, you will find personal stories, relatable biblical tales, and anecdotes that prove you are never alone in your despair and will inspire you to turn pain, discomfort, disappointment, or setbacks into something positive that works for you. So if you're ready to change your life in meaningful and purposeful ways, get your copy of this book today and let the transformation begin. So it is your brain. That is what your brain does for you. Now, the brain is a physical thing. It is made up of blood vessels and nerve cells. So we can actually hold our brain, right? Well, technically not for a living person, but the brain is something physical that can be held. It has a definite shape and structure. It coordinates movements, feelings, and different functions of the body. That's the brain. Now, the brain, like I said before, is the thinking part of our body. It thinks for our body. The mind, on the other hand, thinks in our soul, and our conscience thinks in our spirit. Okay, I'll say that again. The brain thinks in our body, the mind thinks in your soul, and the conscience thinks in your spirit. That's why when you do something wrong, it is your conscience that starts to think, because that thing you have done is against the essence of who you are, the spirit of God that is in you. And that is when your conscience starts to talk to you about it. Got it? The mind is where you rationalize things. Is this rational? Is this not? And you start to think about it. That's what the mind does for you. The brain thinks for your body. Like in the example I just gave you, eat, you're full. The brain says, hey, you're full, stop eating, right? Got it? That's the basic, right? Now, if we look at the mind is a mental thing. It is not physical. We can't touch it. It's abstract. It doesn't have a definite shape or structure like the brain does. It is not made up of any cells. It is an abstract concept, but it refers to a person's beliefs, understanding, and thought process. And this is most powerful. It's shocking that something that we cannot hold, something that is abstract, actually can drive our life so powerfully. It is such an important concept to grasp. So I want us to remember at this point that as we go into this concept of mindset, remember that your brain is physical, your mind is abstract, okay? That's what I want you to see. And your mind is a part of your soul. It is the thinking faculty within your soul. Now let's look at the concept of mindset. We're going to go into the dictionary for a little bit, okay? If we look at mind, how does the dictionary define mind? The dictionary defines mind as the element of a person that enables us to be aware of our world, our experiences, to think and feel. It is the faculty of consciousness and thought. That's the dictionary definition. That's mind on its own. Now, I want to look at the definition of set. Set means to lay, put, or stand something in a specific place or position, or to bring into a specified state. So when we put the two words together, mind, set, it means how we lay, put, or stand that element within us that allows us to experience our world, to think, to feel, to reason. where we have set our reasoning to, where we have put or specified or positioned our reasoning, our thoughts, our perceptions, how we view life. That is mindset. So mindset here refers to a set of beliefs, plane of perceptions, value systems that influences how we think, feel, and view the world, depending on where we have set it on. Our mindset is what orients, right? The way we handle situations. It plays a huge role in how we actualize our dreams, our goals, our desires, our aspirations. So, for example, remember the mind is the process of how we think, how we perceive things. If something happens to me, for example, I know there's a mindset of, in the part of the world where I grew up, things are changing now. So I'm not saying that's how it is now, but growing up, there was this notion or mindset that boys were superior to girls. So if you had a girl child, there was this mindset that, you've just had a child who may not do much in life. So you need to have another child, in this case, a male child. But when you set it to that position, right, when you have that mind, okay, and you set it on that position that a female child rather, cannot amount to much, it will drive a lot of the decisions. I know my mom told me growing up that she was not sent to school because her dad could only afford to send the men to school. So she went to school later in life when she could afford to work and send herself to teachers training college. You see, it was a mindset. It is not true that the men are more superior to women. It is absolutely not true. But that was the mindset. That was where society has set their awareness and their consciousness, their thoughts. That is where they set it on. And because they had set it in that position, it drove a lot of the decisions that they made. In my mom's case, she was not educated because he could only afford to educate the boys. The reason why that was, yes, there were other factors at play there in terms of poverty and societal means and class and all of those things. However, if that mindset was not there, it would not be based on who do I train or who do I educate based on gender. It may be based on other things such as ability, who has the potential to do well in school, or maybe this person can go learn a different thing based on their strengths and interests, not based on gender. So mindset is a very, very important part of how we actualize our dreams, our goals, and our desires. And that is why I'm so passionate about helping us understand and see how powerful it is that we understand and learn and question our mindset. Okay? So this episode was just an introduction. We will be continuing this in the next episode. And until the next episode, keep on shining. And let me know what are some absurd mindsets that you've heard about. Head on over to www.icandemy.org and use the voice message tool there to just let me know what are some mindsets you've come across and you'd be like, whoa, I can't believe people ever thought like this, right? Let me know. And if that's not your jam, send me an email. Let me know. I'm curious to read from you. Thank you so much for listening. And until the next one, keep on shining. This episode is sponsored by our very own Mogul Mindset Training. Are you ready to embrace new experiences, see opportunities where you thought there was none, and totally surprise yourself? Because you can by unleashing the power of your mind. Mogul Mindset System is a 5-step system that helps you retrain your mind to work with you and not against you, so you can awaken your inner giant, 10x your impact, your income, and become truly unstoppable. The truth is, you, my friend, have a superpower, your creative genius, and I'm here to make that power multiply manyfold so you can get past fear, self-doubt, and finally start working and thriving in your life and business. Ready to unleash your superpowers? I thought you would. Head over to mogul.icandemy.org. That's mogul.icandemy.org to learn more. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wallaby. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org.